My dear friends, God does not always choose the strongest, the loudest, or the most perfect people. He often chooses those who have been broken, tested, and humbled by life. If you've ever felt overlooked, delayed, or unworthy, this message is for you. God looks beyond your past mistakes and current struggles. He looks at your heart. And you may be surprised to learn that you could be one of the 5 types of people God chooses for a greater purpose. Before God changes your situation, He changes you. Many people wait for a sign, a miracle, or a breakthrough without realizing that the process itself is proof that God is working. What you're walking through right now is not random, and your struggle is not wasted. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 types of people God chooses. And as you listen, you may begin to understand why your life has unfolded the way it has. God often chooses people who have been through silent battles. These are the ones who learn to cry in private and smile in public. They know pain, but they also know how to keep going when no one is cheering. Their strength was built in moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. God trusts these people because they understand endurance. They don't need applause to remain faithful. Their resilience becomes a powerful testimony. God chooses the humble, not those who think they already have all the answers. Humble people listen before they speak and learn before they lead. They are not driven by ego, but by obedience. When God speaks, they don't argue, they respond. Humility keeps their heart open and their spirit teachable. God can shape them without resistance. That is why He often elevates them at the right time. God chooses people who are patient during delays. They don't rush God's timing even when waiting feels painful. While others complain, they prepare. While others quit, they remain consistent. Patience builds character that success alone cannot teach. God knows these people will not break under pressure. They understand that preparation always comes before promotion. Their waiting season becomes their training ground. God chooses those who remain faithful when life doesn't make sense. Even when prayers seem unanswered, they still believe. Even when doors close, they trust God's direction. Faith like this is not based on comfort, but on conviction. God values loyalty in difficult seasons. These people walk by faith, not by sight. Their belief honors God deeply. God chooses people who have been misunderstood. They were judged for their silence and doubted for their patience. People assumed weakness, not realizing it was discipline. These individuals learned to stand alone without becoming bitter. God sees their heart even when others misread their intentions. Their quiet strength speaks louder than words. God uses them to shock those who doubted them. God chooses people who are willing to obey even when it's uncomfortable. Obedience often requires sacrifice, and not everyone is ready for that. These people choose purpose over popularity. They don't follow the crowd. They follow God's voice. Even when obedience costs them something, they remain loyal. God trusts them with responsibility. Their obedience opens doors others never see. God chooses people who have experienced failure, but didn't stay there. Failure taught them humility, wisdom, and dependence on God. Instead of giving up, they learned valuable lessons. They don't hide their scars, they grow from them. God uses their past to shape their future. Their testimony carries power because it is real. They prove that falling is not the end. God chooses people who can handle silence. They don't need constant validation or recognition. They are comfortable being unseen for a season. In silence, God builds depth within them. Their character develops away from distractions. God knows they won't be distracted by fame. When the time comes, they are ready. God chooses people who forgive even when it hurts. They release bitterness instead of holding on to pain. Forgiveness keeps their heart light and free. God values a clean heart more than a loud talent. These people choose peace over revenge. Their forgiveness breaks spiritual chains. God blesses those who let go. God chooses people who trust Him completely with their future. They don't rely only on their own plans. Even when the path is unclear, they move forward in faith. Their confidence is rooted in God, not circumstances. They surrender control and allow God to lead. This level of trust attracts divine favor. These are the people God uses in extraordinary ways. God chooses people who remain kind even after being hurt. Life may have given them reasons to become cold, yet they chose compassion. They understand pains, so they treat others gently. God sees their heart posture, not just their actions. Kindness in a cruel world is rare. God uses such people to reflect His character. Their softness becomes their strength. God chooses those who are disciplined when no one is watching. They stay committed to prayer, growth, and integrity in private. Their character is consistent in public and private life. God values hidden faithfulness. These people don't perform for attention. Discipline prepares them for greater responsibility. God rewards what is done in secret. God chooses people who are hungry for growth. They are never satisfied with staying the same. Every challenge pushes them to become better, not bitter. They seek wisdom, not shortcuts. God can trust them with progress. Their desire to grow aligns with God's purpose. Transformation follows their hunger. God chooses those who carry peace into chaotic situations. While others panic, they remain calm. Their presence brings stability and reassurance. God flows through people who don't spread fear. Peace makes room for wisdom. These individuals become anchors for others. God uses them to calm storms. God chooses people who are grateful even in small victories. They don't wait for big breakthroughs to say thank you. Gratitude keeps their spirit aligned with God. These people notice blessings others overlook. God multiplies a thankful heart. Appreciation opens doors to abundance. Gratitude attracts more favor. God chooses people who are brave enough to stand alone. They don't compromise values for acceptance. Even when isolated, they remain faithful. God strengthens those who refuse to blend in. Their courage sets them apart. God honors their boldness in truth. Standing alone today leads to leadership tomorrow. God chooses people who listen more than they speak. They seek understanding before reacting. Wisdom flows through a quiet, attentive spirit. God speaks clearly to those who pause. These people avoid unnecessary conflict. Their words carry weight when they finally speak. God trusts them with influence. God chooses people who remain hopeful in dark seasons. They believe light will come even in long nights. Hope fuels their endurance. God values a heart that refuses to give up. These people inspire others unknowingly. Their hope becomes contagious. God uses them to uplift many. God chooses people who serve without expecting rewards. They help even when appreciation is missing. Their motivation is love, not recognition. God notices every unseen sacrifice. Serving shapes a humble heart. These individuals lead through actions. God elevates true servants. God chooses people who can admit when they are wrong. Pride does not control their decisions. They value growth over being right. God can correct them without resistance. Teachability keeps them moving forward. Mistakes become lessons, not limits. God shapes them with grace. God chooses people who protect their integrity at all costs. Even when tempted, they choose honesty. Integrity builds trust that money cannot buy. God relies on those who stay true. These people don't need to defend themselves. Their life speaks for them. God honors a clean conscience. God chooses people who know how to wait in silence. They don't rush God with complaints. Silence deepens their spiritual awareness. God often works quietly before acting loudly. These people understand timing. Their patience confuses the world. God moves for them suddenly. God chooses people who uplift others instead of competing. They celebrate success without jealousy. Their heart is secure in God's plan. God blesses those who support others. Competition fades where love exists. These people build, not destroy. God entrusts them with community. God chooses people who guard their thoughts carefully. They don't allow negativity to control them. Mindset shapes their direction. God works powerfully through renewed minds. These individuals replace fear with faith. Their thoughts align with purpose. Victory starts in their thinking. God chooses these people who remain obedient even when tired. Fatigue does not stop their faith. They push forward with trust. God strengthens the weary who don't quit. These people rely on grace, not energy. Obedience keeps them moving. God meets them with renewal. God chooses people who respect small beginnings. They don't despise slow progress. Every step matters to them. God values consistency over speed. These people stay committed to the process. Small seeds grow into great outcomes. God multiplies what they honor. God chooses people who release control and trust Him fully. They surrender outcomes and expectations. Faith grows when control fades. God leads those who let go. These people walk with peace, not pressure. Trust opens divine doors. God directs their steps. God chooses people who can remain faithful in success. They don't forget God after receiving blessings. Gratitude stays in their heart. God tests hearts through prosperity too. These individuals remain grounded. Success does not change their character. God keeps increasing them. God chooses people who speak life, not destruction. Their words heal, not harm. God listens to how they talk. Speech reveals the heart. These people build others up intentionally. God uses their voice for impact. Life flows from their words. God chooses people who never stop believing in His promises. Time does not weaken their faith. Delays do not erase hope. God honors unwavering trust. These people stand firm through uncertainty. Their belief activates miracles. God fulfills what He promised. God chooses people who stay faithful when prayers take time. They don't walk away just because answers are delayed. Waiting refines their trust. God sees their consistency even when results are invisible. These people learn dependence instead of control. Their faith matures quietly. God honors those who don't give up mid-process. God chooses people who choose truth over comfort. They don't compromise just to fit in. Standing for truth often feels lonely. God strengthens those who stay firm. These individuals understand that peace comes from obedience. Their courage speaks without shouting. God uses them as moral anchors. God chooses people who keep going despite exhaustion. Their strength comes from faith, not feelings. Even when energy fades, purpose keeps them moving. God renews those who refuse to quit. These people understand that rest comes from God. Their endurance builds spiritual muscle. God rewards perseverance. God chooses people who remain teachable at every stage. Growth never stops for them. Success does not make them proud. Corrections does not offend them. God flows through open hearts. These individuals learn from everyone and everything. Teachability keeps them aligned with God's will. God chooses people who can be trusted with responsibility. They manage small tasks with excellence. Faithfulness in little things reveals character. God watches how they handle details. These people don't cut corners. Their reliability sets them apart. God increases what they manage well. God chooses people who respond with grace under pressure. Stress doesn't change their values. Their reactions reflect maturity. God values calm strength over loud reactions. These individuals think before responding. Their control shows inner growth. God uses them in critical moments. God chooses people who remain loyal during transitions. Change doesn't shake their faith. They trust God through uncertainty. God values stability in shifting seasons. These people adapt without losing direction. Their trust anchors them. God leads them safely forward. God chooses people who value purpose over popularity. Approval from people doesn't drive them. They seek alignment with God instead. God blesses focused hearts. These individuals don't chase trends. Their clarity protects their calling. God elevates purpose-driven lives. God chooses people who overcome fear with faith. Fear may speak, but it doesn't decide. These people move forward anyway. God honors courage rooted in trust. Their boldness grows through action. Fear loses power over them. God opens doors through their bravery. God chooses people who guard their spirit carefully. They avoid toxic environments. Peace matters more than drama. God dwells where peace is protected. These individuals choose wisdom over reaction. Their calm reflects inner strength. God uses them to restore balance. God chooses people who give without expecting return. Their generosity flows freely. God loves cheerful giving. These people trust God as their source. Giving does not scare them. God replenishes what they release. Blessings follow open hands. God chooses people who remain disciplined in hard seasons. They don't abandon habits when life gets tough. Discipline carries them through storms. God blesses consistent effort. These individuals stay committed to growth. Their structure supports their faith. God builds strength through routine. God chooses people who forgive themselves as well. They don't stay trapped in guilt. Grace teaches them to move forward. God doesn't define them by mistakes. These people learn to heal internally. Self-forgiveness restores confidence. God uses healed hearts. God chooses people who respect divine timing. They don't rush outcomes. God's clock matters to them. These individuals understand seasons. Rushing destroys readiness. God prepares them thoroughly. Timing unlocks purpose. God chooses people who stay focused despite distractions. Noise doesn't pull them away. They know what matters most. God works through focused minds. These people manage attention wisely. Distractions lose power over them. God rewards clarity. God chooses people who can lead without control. They guide with humility. God values servant leadership. These individuals empower others. Authority doesn't inflate their ego. God trusts them with influence. Leadership flows naturally through them. God chooses people who speak truth with love. They don't wound with words. Compassion shapes their communication. God values balanced speech. These people correct without condemning. Their words heal hearts. God uses their voice gently. God chooses people who remain faithful behind the scenes. And they don't need spotlight. God sees what others don't. These individuals serve quietly. Faithfulness doesn't seek attention. God rewards hidden obedience. Promotion comes from Him. God chooses people who expect God to move. Their faith is active. Expectation fuels their prayer. God responds to belief. These people prepare for blessings. Faith shapes their actions. God meets their expectation. God chooses people who never stop trusting His plan. Even confusion doesn't shake them. They believe God is intentional. Trust keeps them steady. God honors surrendered hearts. Their journey reflects obedience. God completes what He started. If you see yourself in these people, understand this clearly. You are not late, forgotten, or rejected. God's choosing is never rushed and never random. Every delay has been shaping you. Every struggle has been strengthening you. What looks like preparation to heaven may look like silence on earth. Trust the process even when you don't understand it. God never chooses without a purpose. And when He chooses, nothing can stop what He has planned. God's selection is not about perfection, talent, or background. It's about the heart. The season you're in right now is building something deeper than success. Even when people don't see value in you, God already does. Stay faithful, stay patient, and stay humble. Your obedience today is unlocking tomorrow's breakthrough. God is closer than you think, and your time is coming. God didn't bring you this far to leave you here. If God chose you, no situation can disqualify you. What God is preparing you for is bigger than what you're going through now. You were chosen for purpose, not for comfort. Stay faithful. God is about to reveal why He chose you.